Hey everyone, my name is Trevor, and in this video, we're going to take a detailed look at this catalog from Information Unlimited. If you picked up a popular science magazine at all in the 90s or 2000s, you may have seen an ad in the back pages for Information Unlimited. That's certainly how I found out about them. One summer when I was around 9 or 10 years old, I went through the back pages of my popular science magazine and requested every single free catalog or free sample that was offered, much to the annoyance of my parents. My favorite thing I received was the Information Unlimited catalog. As the cover says, Catalog of Amazing Electronic Devices. It's pretty cheesy and reminds me of those old comic book ads for X-ray specs. Before we take a look at the catalog, let's learn a little bit more about Information Unlimited and the man behind it. This information comes from a 2013 article in Wired magazine. Bob Iannini was one of those people with an insatiable curiosity for knowledge, but on his own terms. At 16, he was a junior in high school and he accidentally blew off his left hand while working on a science project. With 2 months left in his senior year, he was expelled from high school for getting into trouble with explosives and things like that, in his own words. Despite not graduating high school, he went on to attend Northwestern University, where he received a degree in electrical engineering. After graduating, he invented the Readthrough electronic bug zapper. Iannini sold the design for $60,000. This is equivalent to $425,000 in 2024 when adjusted for inflation. That was a lot of money at the time. He used the money to start Information Unlimited in 1973, which sold mail-order plans and kits of his own design. Over the years, the product offering grew to include electronic kits to mad scientist stuff to Fringe Science. Bob passed away on April 3, 2023 from pneumonia, just short of his 85th birthday. Bob ran the business for 50 years from his home in southern New Hampshire. Sadly, they're no longer in business as of 2024. I had no idea that he had such an interesting life and had received US patents for at least 5 of his designs that I could find on Google, though there's probably many more. With that in mind, let's take a look at the catalog. First, we have an assortment of handheld lasers and laser pointers. This was the mid-90s after all. Laser pointers were everywhere. Next, we bump it up a bit with some helium neon lasers, infrared lasers, and CO2 lasers. I like this product, which claims to be able to listen to conversations by shining a laser beam onto a window. I don't know if this really works or not, but it sounds like something that you'd see in a James Bond movie. We've got some more laser kits on page 6, and on page 7 we start getting into the mad scientist stuff, Tesla coils. You can get 250,000 volts, 500,000 volts, or go for the 1.5 million volt floor model, which says it generates sparks 4 to 6 feet. There are plenty of high voltage projects on this page labeled chargers, pulsars, igniters. I didn't understand what half of this stuff was as a kid, but an electromagnetic launcher just sounded cool. Page 10 has parts and plans for Tesla coils, but wait, what's that section? Nuclear interest? Can you really buy plans to build your own particle accelerator for just $20? Moving on, we have several products that make use of electrical plasma. Look at the all-new plasma pen. Provides hours of creative and profitable entertainment. I'm not quite sure how you'd profit from this, but it's probably entertaining. Special effects and magic. Pretty standard stuff on this page, but I see here you can get potato cannon plans for $10. Why were potato cannons or spud guns such a thing in the 90s? We've got some more plasma products and some neon products too. This next page is labeled General Interest Scientific, but I would say this is where we start venturing into the fringe science. We've got a magnetic distortion detector, anti-gravity levitating device, and ultrasonic blaster. These sound like they're straight out of the Acme catalog that Wile E. Coyote would be ordering from. Here we have some solar plans and kits. You can order plans to build a vacuum pump, sure, that's useful. But plans to build your own X-ray machine? What is a time quencher? It just says freezes in motion movement. I have no idea what that could be. This next page has some more Fringe Science gold. Mind and brain control devices. We have a therapy tool, a disorientation device, and a telekinetic enhancer. And we also have several books about hypnosis. Here we're looking at some night vision stuff. Again, I'm not sure what practical application an everyday person has for this stuff. Maybe for, like, hunting, I guess? Here we have an assortment of super tiny video cameras, video surveillance for protecting your home or business. It's kind of interesting. Here are some hobby electronic kits that definitely push the limits of Part 15 of the FCC rules. Build your own 3-mile FM voice transmitter? Yeah, probably not a good idea. Here we have some different wireless tracking devices, which must have seemed like a really novel and high-tech idea in a world before Apple AirTags or consumer GPS being in every device. I don't know if any of this stuff would have really worked very far, or even as far as it claims. Who knows? This page has a variety of devices that can be used for telephone recording and snooping on telephone calls. I mean, where do we really draw the line between harmless prank and felony wiretapping? Here are some microphones and hearing devices. This page has some personal alarm devices. Not too much interesting here, except for this anti-sleep alarm. Intended for long-distance driving. Keeps you awake by sensing nodding off and sounding alarm. May save your life. It's interesting that driver alertness technology actually started showing up in European luxury cars around the mid-2010s. Manufacturers like Audi, BMW, Mercedes-Benz, and others have technology in the cars that can monitor driver alertness as a safety feature. So maybe not such a dumb idea after all. This page has devices that are aimed to repel animals, including cats, dogs, and rodents. On the next page, there actually is a bug zapper, but it's not called the Rideau Ray here, it's just called Electronic Bug Zapper. Here we have some electronic fishing aids. I don't know how I feel about the idea of mixing electricity and water. That doesn't seem like the best idea to me. Here are some Simplex Kits. These are hobby electronic kits that you build yourself to do things like make a thermometer or a wave generator, a CB radio, and a metal detector. That seems pretty normal. Here we have some more electronic kits. Take a look at this one, the stress lie detector meter. It says it can be used at parties? What kind of party are you guys going to? Other kits of interest include build your own car alarm, build your own lamp driver, and a bet decision maker. Here's a list of discounted plans you can get. This page is basically just a price sheet of different hard to find and oddball components that you might need for some of these kits. Here we have a page listing some different technical books you can buy. Now we're getting into the good stuff here with far out and fantastic scientific videos. Talking about subjects like anti-gravity and free energy. And take a look at this one here, Eye of the Storm, a hard-hitting documentary discussing secret government research into futuristic propulsion, energy, and weapon systems. This is a great example of how conspiracy theories and misinformation used to propagate before internet usage became widely accessible to so many people. And at the last page here in the catalog, we're getting into alternative, strange, and far-out science. We've got some books about alternative energy, but take a look at this one, the book Drugs and Magic, Not Sold to Minors. 606 pages of recently banned material involving the use of common hallucinogenic plants. Yeah, we're getting pretty far out there, alright. And then here's the order form so you can send in your orders. Well, thanks for reading through this catalog with me. I'm sad that Information Unlimited is no longer around. I really think they were a neat company, and I hope you enjoyed reading through one of their old catalogs with me. Thanks, and I'll see you next time.